welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be making a $58 dress, but with $10 fabric. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we start, please make sure you have these measurements and the following materials with you. Let's start. So here, what I'm basically doing is measuring out the length of the skirt. You can make it long or short. I measured out my skirt's length to be 20 inches. I made this marking on both sides of the fabric and then connected the two lines together. This is just the cotton base that I'm making to make it easier for me when I cut out on the actual fabric that I'm using. You guys do not need to do this. You can straight up do it on the fabric that you want to use. Make sure you add an inch on top like I'm doing here for seam allowance though. Next up, I'm folding from the top down by 2 inches because this is where I'll be adding the elastic. After that, I measure my waist out. My waist is 27 inches, but we have to divide it in half because our fabric has been folded 2 times. So 27 divided by 2 would be 13.5, but we're gonna add half an inch for seam allowance and our total is going to be 14.5 inches. And I have both of these marked right here. Now, we're going to mark the bottom part of the skirt that rests on your thighs. Basically, you want to take your tape measure and first measure from your waist down until you get your desired skirt length, and then from that point on, take your tape measure again and wrap it around your legs to see how long that ends up being. That is going to be the length of the bottom of your skirt. My length ended up being 33 inches, but I had to divide it in half, so I got 16.5. And I also added half an inch for seam allowance, giving me a total of 17. So I marked the 17 inches right here, and then made a straight line up. I also then added a slit because of the design. And then cut that piece out. Again, this cotton piece was not necessary, but it makes cutting out your actual fabric so much easier. So now what I'm doing is lining this cotton piece up on my satin fabric. Right here, like this. This right here is going to be my waist, and then this is the length. Make sure you account for your hip measurement at the center of the skirt because we are not using a stretch fabric. You will not be able to wear your skirt if you make it too tight. You can also try out this cotton piece if you pin it down, and you can wear it to see where you have to adjust some things, and then you can cut out your actual fabric accordingly. A draft skirt is also always very helpful. Here, I have folded my satin fabric up 4 times, so when I cut it out, I'm going to be left with a weird looking shape. I'll show you guys the shape after I'm done cutting here. This is what the piece looks cut out. The cotton fabric is on top. As you can see, there are 4 pieces here that are connected together. This right here is a slit at the bottom of the skirt. Now we can start attaching the pieces together. I'm using this color of thread and a straight stitch. Your fabric should look like this, and we will be sewing up the top open part of the skirt first. This is what my piece looks like now. It is folded in half, but you can see the top part is sewn together. Now we will sew all 4 sides together right here. This is how your skirt should look like so far. Now let's sew the sides together. So this is what it looks like after it has all my pieces have been sewn down. As you can see, they're all connected right here. Now you want to pay attention to this part. This is how you're going to fold the slit of your skirt before you sew it. There are two sides to the skirt with two sides to the slit, and we're going to do this fold on both of them before we sew them for a cleaner look. Here's me sewing. Slits look like after I have sewed them with that little fold that I did. And this is what the whole piece looks like so far, opened up. Now we're going to sew the part that's above the slit all together after we folded the piece in half. After that, at the top part of the skirt, we're going to make a 2-inch waistband because we will add the elastic here. Do not sew in the middle of this band, sew towards the bottom. This is what you should end up with, and make sure you leave a little bit of space at the end to add your elastic in through. Like I did right here. This is what your band should now look like after you have added the elastic in. Here's the skirt so far. Now we're going to fold up this highlighted part right here. I hemmed it there, and then I sewed it down. This is what the hemming looks like. This is the finished skirt. This is the outline of the shirt. I used this dress to make my outline, but you can also use your neck measure, which is how deep you want your neck to be, how long you want your armholes to be for lack of a better word, your bust, and the waist of how tight you want the bottom of your top to be. That's your bust right there. That's your neckline, your armholes things, and your shoulders. You also need your shoulder measurement, sorry. This is what the piece cut out looks like. Cutting this out was way easier. Just make sure you have 4 pieces cut out. First, we are putting 2 pieces on top of one another and sewing the neckline together. This is what my 2 pieces look like after I've sewed the neckline down together. You're gonna have 2 separate pieces, but they basically have 2 pieces inside of them. Now I'm turning them inside out. I struggled, but it's okay. As you can see, this is what the neckline is going to look like. It looks so clean and so proper. That is why we cut out 4 pieces and then connected 2 and 2 together. After that, we are going to be connecting the armholes together, again for a lack of a better word, on both pieces. Not together, just we're going to connect those armholes together. This is the beautiful piece that we are left with after we are done sewing. Here I'm just showing you guys on one piece of the fabric. I'm going to turn it inside out so you guys can see how nice and clean it's going to look. Look at how good that looks, guys. Like, so beautiful. This is what the 2 pieces look like on top of each other. Here, my grandma just helped me iron the pieces where I just sewed them so that it can look like they would just be pressed. Now after that, we're going to connect your 2 pieces together at the shoulders right there. This is what it looks like done. Remember, we connected both our pieces together at the shoulders. We're finally connecting them together. After that, I loosely stitched the bottom of the shirt for like a rough hem and then hemmed it with the sewing machine. After the hemming, we are finally going to be connecting the sides of the shirt together. This is what the hem looks like so far. But when we're connecting the sides together, we're going to sew diagonally from the armpit down so we can make this shirt tighter. This is what the diagonal line should look like. I'm going to sew right here on this line. After the sewing is done, cut off a bit of the extra fabric. I left some just in case I needed to open the seam if my shirt ended up being too tight. This is what the top looks like. Now let's do the final reveal.